So, along with my other kind of pseudo prepping activities, I came across the idea that people said, online, that you ought to have a Faraday cage for your sensitive electronics. I get it, you get the EMP go off, you want to keep some of your stuff safe and in working order. Of course, a lot of it's theory. Nobody's actually been in an EMP. Nobody, at least, I'm sure the government has set up EMPs and set them off and tested them out. But then again, everything you can find on the internet by the typical poster does not have any knowledge firsthand of the effects of an EMP. It's all theory, and everybody's conflicting. Some say it has to be a full metal cage. Some say it doesn't have to. It could be perforated. Some say you have to put it. You want to put it to your house ground. Some say don't put it to your house ground. If nothing else, never put it to your house ground. So just kind of wonder exactly who knows how much, and is there anybody out there who's really a true source of correct information. The one thing I was thinking though is, so what? So I put a cell phone in a box. If it's anything besides a local little EMP, if it's a nuclear detonation, or if it's a gigantic solar flare that causes the problems, there's going to be satellite issues anyway. So, if you don't have a satellite, it doesn't do you any good to have a cell phone, or an iPad, or a whatever, this or that, anything that's going to connect wirelessly, because all the sources are going to be gone. That being said, if it's a little local EMP, you can pull your stuff out of your Faraday box, or cage, and zip on down the road, provided you have a car that is not affected because of all the chips and stuff in the cars nowadays. But you could in theory, drive far enough away that you could get to an area that's not affected by the EMP. So, that being said, this is my Faraday box, or my version that I came up with. I took 2 steel file cabinets, and then let me back up. Everything I used to make my Faraday box was just extra material I had laying around the house. I didn't buy anything, so the actual cost is 0. I guess the theoretical cost is 0. The actual cost was substantial, because at one point I did pay for the file cabinets, and I did pay for the stucco lath there, and I did pay for the installation at some point in time. So, but for all intents and purposes, I had already spent the money, and I was just recycling materials. So I took 2 steel filing cabinets, screwed them to each other, used 16 screws, made sure I had a good electrical contact between the 2 of them, tested that with my ohm meter, made sure that there was a true, in fact, connection between the 2. I took all the drawers out of the file cabinet, lined them with 1/4 inch styrofoam insulation. So the inside of each drawer is done that way, and the outside of the entire file cabinet is done that way. That's because I've made this a double Faraday cage. The 2 steel file cabinets have a ground wire attached, and then the outer cage, which I made of aluminum stucco cage. You put that against the wall, and then you add your stucco mix to it. That's like a new version of a lath. Anyway, it's aluminum wire, aluminum mesh, and it is also got a ground wire to it. And in my case, I put both those ground wires to the house ground. Here in the near future, when I get time, I will run the wires to the outside and drive a grounding rod into the ground and actually have a straight to earth ground. So I'm hoping that any electrical impulse or electrical pulse that comes along will first hit the outer cage, disperse most of the electricity, if not all of it, and any residue that's left over would have maybe get through that cage, or whatever happens. If any energy gets to the file cabinets, then it would be dispersed and sent to ground from the surface of the file cabinets. In addition, I went ahead and built custom boxes for each drawer. Made the exact specifications of the inside of the drawers so I can maximize my usage. So, and I've got them marked off. There's one for cameras, got one for my drives. I've got 8 1TB drives and 6 2TB drives. I don't see any need to lose all my photographs over the decline of man, should you say. I got one for camcorders, miscellaneous, and then I got one for my laptop. So I got 2 laptops in there now, and I got room to put my other 2 in there. And once it's all closed up, the front of the cage closes, and I simply wire it shut. There's 3 wires to hold it completely shut. And there's my Faraday cage. Don't know if that's useful to anybody. People say it's easy enough. You can go ahead and just use a trash can. Some people say you can use a trash can. You could use a microwave. You could use a fridge. You could use a freezer. Anything that you can ground made out of metal. That's my understanding. So we'll see. If it hits, we'll have to test our stuff. It'd be nice if there's instructions out there how to build a small EMP. One that you could actually test. Put a phone in your little Faraday cage and test and see if it ruins it. So my question to anybody who would be watching my video is, so great, we got a Faraday cage, all the electronics are stored and protected. Then comes the question of an automobile. All of them have chips, etc., etc., etc. Well, not really. The old cars don't. I got a 73 Pontiac Le Mans. Should run just fine because it's got points and condensers. My question, though, is I got a 71 Chevy pickup truck from a buddy, but he had modified it and put in the high energy ignition. I don't know a whole lot about the high energy ignitions. Does anybody know if that would survive an EMP or whatever? So that would be a good question. I guess I'll look that up and see if anybody else knows that. If you know it, post it for me. A high energy ignition within a vehicle that has no other chip technology. Will it run? Thanks for watching.